Okay, so before we move on to the code, let's look at what we did in our XOR gate function. So what did we use in our XOR gate function? So can anyone answer that in the comments? Like what are the different gates that we used that we will be using in our code? Okay, I'll open this slide up so you can take hints from it and tell me what are the 3 gates that we used for the XOR one that Aditya just explained. Yes, NAND or AND gate, NOR gate. Yes, exactly. So before our XOR gate to be successful, we'll first make 3 different gates functions. So first will be our NAND and then our NAND and our OR. What else? So these are all the perceptrons that we're going to make, right? So in a perceptron, what is required? The inputs, the weights, and also the bias. So for that, we need a perceptron function and also a sigmoid function. So a sigmoid function is nothing but when the value is greater than 0 or it's equal to 0, then the value becomes 1. And if it's less than 0, then it is 0. So we'll be looking into this in detail. So for now, so these are the key points that we're going to make sure we cover in our code. So we have the AND gate, the NAND gate, the OR, we have the perceptron and the sigmoid function. So now let's go into the code. So first of all, we start by importing NumPy. NumPy is a Python library, and here we're going to use it as a dot product for the dot multiplication, and also we'll be using it to define the arrays. So now why do we need arrays? So as you can see here, we have x1, x2, x3, and till xn. So the best database to the data set that we can put this in so that it multiplies accordingly. So x1 into w1, x2 into w2, x3 into w3. So for this multiplication to happen, we use our dot function that we get from our NumPy library. So a NumPy library has all the mathematical equations that we can do mathematical functions using our NumPy library, and also like higher dimensional or multi-dimensional arrays. And then after we multiply this, we add on to our bias, as you can see in this. And then we make it go through the sigmoid activation function, that is sigmoid here. We'll be learning about different activation functions in a few hours. And then we get our final output. So now that this is clear, I guess it's clear. Okay, so first we start off with our sigmoid function. So just like I said right a few minutes ago, if the v value, we take the input parameter as v. If the v value is greater than or equal to 0, then we return 1. Otherwise, it returns 0. So that is only thing we have to keep in mind. So this is our activation function. So like we use activation function in this because in our XOR, our values are either 0 or 1. And so that our like output is 0 or 1, it is necessary for using this activation function. So we have done our activation function. So defining activation function, if v is greater than or equal to 0, then it returns a 1, else it returns a 0. So this is the activation function. And now comes the perceptron. So how do you think the perceptron will work? So it will take w1 x1 plus w2 into x2 plus b. So what are the parameters that are required in this perceptron? So the w array and the x array and also the b. So here is again the use of our NumPy library. We'll be using it to make the array. So perceptron, we take the x array, w array, and b. Now b is just an integer. So we just define, this can be anything. You can put it as v or y or anything depending, like it's a variable. So is equal to np. np stands for our NumPy that we used here, dot. So this is where the arrays get, the dot multiplication of the arrays happen, dot product plus b. And then we apply the sigmoid function by calling the sigmoid function. So when we return the perceptron, it's going to be the sigmoid of v, which is nothing but the dot product plus the addition of the bias. Okay, so this part is clear, right? Perceptron. Okay, now we move on to our AND function. So, like the X value is something we are going to input. So X is something we are going to input. For example, we put it as 1, 1 or something like 1, 0, 1, 1, so that we get the Y input accordingly to the AND function, AND gate. So, and the W values and the B value is something we already put inside, like it's already there in the function that we had just discussed a few minutes ago, like what should be the values of W and what should be the values of B. So I think in Aditya's example, he took W values to be 10 and 10 and B value to be -1, -15. But here we took the values as 1, 1 and B to be 1, -1.5. So even if we do that, it works because it is satisfying the condition. So now we take in the values of it, just X, we take in the X value, and then we make the array 1, 1. So again, here we use the numpy function, and that is going to be stored in our W, and then we have our B. So now we ask the function of perceptron to give us a value of AND. So when we put in a value for X, like for example here, instead of like for X, we had put in the value as 0, 0. That is our array, and we get the value as 0. So that is our AND function, right? So 0, 0, we should get the output as 0. 0, 1 should be 0, and 1, 0 should be 0, and just 1, 1 should be 1. So for this to happen, so the only difference between AND, OR, and also NAND gate is that we are going to use the W's and the B's are where it differs. And now that we have completed this AND gate function, we will try to print it out to check if it's working or not. And as you can see, clearly it's working. So we take it in an array because the X value is our array. So we take it in an array, 3 different examples, and then we so if some of you do not know this, this is a Python code in which you use dot format so that we get the result like this. So we use curly brackets in places where the input should be 0 or etc. So here in our AND value, we put it as example1, and our example1 is the array 0, 0. And when the value 0, 0 goes here, it sends it to it calls the perceptron with the values 0, 0 for X, that is the array, W it is 1, 1, and B is -1.5 to get the value of 0. So this is the whole working of the AND. So do we have any questions? Is it visible?
Yeah, it's visible. Guys, if you have any question, put it in Q&A. And regarding the links to the notebooks, yeah, we'll let you know soon, and we'll let you know how to get those links as well. But at first, I think you guys should be mainly focusing on actually how these things are working, right? So if you have any doubts, put it in Q&A. We'll be happy to answer those.
And now so we have got what we need for our AND function. So our AND function is working. So now if we go to our OR function, we see that it's similar to the AND function, except that our W's and our B's are different. So the W is same as 1, 1, and the B is -0.5. So when we do, we apply the same concept here, except with different W's and different B. And we get this like the result that is supposed to be for OR. So 0, 0 is 0, 0, 1 is 1, and 1, 0 is 1, and 1, 1 is 1. So now when we go into the NAND, so NAND is the NOT of AND. So what we can actually apply different W or B values here, or instead you can take the result and return 1 or 0. Like if the result comes as 0, then we can return it as 1. If the result comes as 1, you can return it as 0. So you can either do this or you can apply different values for W and T. But here I use the same values as and just made a not function, easy not function. And when we print out these values, we get it as nans 0, 0 is 1, nans 0, 1 is 1, nans 1, 0 is 1, and nans 1, 1 is 0. So now comes our XOR function. So we did our NAND, we did our OR. Now in our XOR function, so we take the X value in OR and get an output. We take the X value, our NAND gate, and we get an output. And this output, we send it to our AND gates, and then we get the final output that is supposed to be our XOR output. So what we do here is we are going to first take in the input as X, and then we are going to call the function of OR and name it as gate1. So this is going to be our output of the OR function, that is this. And then we are going to take our X function and call the NAND, and that is going to be the output here. Right, this and this. And we are going to send this into an AND gate to get the final result of XOR gate. So we make a new array using gate 1 and gate 2's outputs, and then we send it, we call the AND gate, and we get the result. And this result is nothing but our XOR gate. So as you can see, our XOR gate has 2 layers of perceptron, and it is known as a multi-layer perceptron concept. So, and our XOR gate, you can see that the similar values have 0 and the different values have 1s. So this is how the XOR gate works. So if you want a recap, I can repeat it again. Any doubts?
Yeah, let's go through the doubts. Yeah, first. So let's come to the most repeated doubt till now. It is why the bias value that we have taken is minus 15, right? That's actually quite good question, because guys, if you think about it, right now what values did we take? We took weights as 1 and 1, and bias as minus. Sandhya, can you share the slide again? Yeah, do you have an AND example? Example for
Yeah.
AND? Yeah, so what did we take for now is weights value is 1 and 1, and bias value is minus 1.5, right? But the thing is, if you think about it, if you take, for example, let's say the weights value as 10, 10 and bias as 15, okay, and if you try to solve it and figure it out, I guess I took the right values, yeah, and if you try to figure it out, then you will get the same results in that case as well. So why is this the case? So as Aditya just explained you, what we're trying to do is what each perceptron or what each function does, it finds a decision boundary between two different classes. Okay, so while finding this decision boundary, there can be multiple lines with multiple slopes and multiple y-intercepts that can act as a correct boundary, right? So that's why this question can have multiple answers to it, and many weights and biases could give us correct answer. So which weight to pick, right? Which bias should we pick, and how do we get these biases at the first place? Let's see that. So I think that answers some of your questions about why bias is minus 50. And are there any more questions, guys? Yeah. Yeah, so I guess Sandhya, can you can you just quickly recap all the things that you have done? Just give a glance through.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so first of all, we use the sigmoid function, which is our activation function. In that, it's nothing but the v should be greater than or equal to 0. Then we should get it as 1. And so this is a sigmoid function that we learned in our 11th and 12th. And even Aditya just explained it right now. So this is the activation function that comes right here in the perceptron. This is the perceptron. So, and then we did the perceptron function in which we did the dot product of x and w. So the x array is supposed to be the inputs that can be 1 comma 1 or 1 comma 0 or 0 comma 1 0 comma 0. So this is our x input, and our w's are the ones that change for AND gate, OR gate, and NAND gate. So after that, we return the value using our sigmoid function. So this is our basic perceptron. Because like why we use sigmoid in our perceptron is because this is a whole perceptron and we have our sigmoid function right here. So the output, we first apply our activation function before we get the output. And then we used it for the AND gate using w as 1 comma 1 and b as minus 1.5. And then we return the perceptron. So you can see that the result is coming correct for us in using AND gate. And similarly with OR gate, we used a different b value, and we are getting the result accurately. That is 0 comma 0 is 0 and etc. And when here in NAND gate, we can either use different W values and B values, or we can just modify the output. Like NAND gate and AND gate, the only difference is supposed to be like if the output of AND gate for a particular X is supposed to be 1, then the result for AND gate would have been 0. So that means it's just a NOT function that's applying. So instead of complicating it, I just used a simple if function in which if the final value is 0, then it should return as 1. And if the final value is 1, then it should return as 0. So as you can see here, our NAND gate was also successful. And now when it comes to the XOR gate is nothing but the X value, X1 value and X2 value, we take it in the XOR gate, in the OR gate, and then not NAND gate. And then the output that we get for OR gate and NAND gate, we put it in the AND, we use AND gate for these two outputs and get the output, the final output of the XOR gate. So that is what we have done here. We used gate 1 as OR gate and gate 2 as NAND gate. And then we made a new array of gate 1 and gate 2. And then we applied AND gate to both of these and returned the value. So this is nothing but our XOR gate.